Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome in. Glad to have people joining in. And, while you're here, please do feel free to say hi. We truly appreciate it and everything. So, yeah. Um, yeah, today is the day. Today is the day. I'm 43 years old today. I hit the big 4-3. And yeah, it's, man, does it feel any different? Probably not. It's another day as is. Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to hop on the live. As you guys saw, the title, of today's live stream, which is like the whole center point of it, right? It's not really tech related for today, but it is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I want to share with everybody plans that I have, things I intend to do in the future, a new adventure kind of coming along. And that doesn't mean, for those who is like, am I completely changing the aspect of my channel? Like, no, the channel's primarily tech related and everything like that. And as a matter of fact, these new videos that I'm going to be recording, editing, uploading, they're actually will be members only. And that's just only because I feel like more people are just here for the tech stuff. And so those videos, those my financial journey videos that I'm going to be starting up here, those are going to be members only. For those people who really want the insight of like what I'm going to be doing to try and to better myself financially. Because truth be told, if people think that I have stability in my life because I make YouTube videos and I put out content and I'm on social media and stuff like that, then you really do have the wrong perception of who I am, to be quite honest with everybody. To be quite honest with everybody, I live, if you want to say in a much polite way, I live a very humbled life. What I have is probably way less than what you guys have. I've spoken about this before in the live stream, and like just a straightforward chat conversation with everyone who has been on my live streams before. And I told you guys I made some very poor choices growing up, which is kind of like introducing myself back to you guys again. Also, for new people that may be interested in these types of videos I'm going to be releasing that are members only videos, because my ultimate plan is to pull myself out of poverty. When I was younger, I didn't take life seriously. I didn't take opportunities that were in front of me seriously. That, while I don't regret it to where it has taken over my life, I do regret not taking those opportunities then. If I'd known what I know now back then I wouldn't have been such a dumbass back then and thought I knew the whole world, and I didn't actually know anything about the world. So, while I am 43 years old, today starts my new adventure. It's a new chapter turned over, and whether I'm successful or not really depends on how I'm able to execute and follow through with the things that I say I want to do, right? So this is not even like a get rich scheme or anything like that, because I could ultimately fail and lose everything, right? So this is like a Hail Mary play. It's a Hail Mary pass. It's it's either I get it or I don't get it type of thing. But my whole life I've been scared to make advancements forward in life, because I was like, I'm gambling not only on my life, but on the lives of my children. I'm gambling on all of us. And so I was always afraid, and I always wanted to take the safe route. I always wanted to make the safe plays. And this is probably why I've never really advanced throughout life. Like, to be quite honest with everybody, to sit here and say I'm a YouTuber and say it proudly is probably not the look that I'm looking for anymore. Maybe when I was younger, maybe when I started this, my late 20s, my early 30s, when I started doing this, that was something that I was primarily focused on. And right now, I'm not even primarily focused on being that. It's kind of the reason why that I don't do things and create the same style content that other content creators do. Is because I don't see myself in that aspect. I don't see myself doing those types of things and being that type of person. I just don't see it. Um, so I've gone through struggles in life. I've gone through multiple evictions, losing my home. To be honest with you guys, we've been homeless at times, and it's a very embarrassing and very tough struggle to have gone through, right? you know my type 2 diabetes is far worse than what I've ever shared with you guys. It's to the point where it's like I've fought and I've combat against big companies, like major big companies. One of the biggest problems is that there's not really jobs out there that's retrofitted to accommodate for people with, type 2 diabetes and the actual symptoms that people of diabetes go through, right? Like frequent urination, those that have neuropathy, right? It's very hard, especially, in the customer service industry. If I can open up a little bit to you guys about things. One of the biggest problems that I've had working in call center work and everything like that is the fact that, I have nerve damage all over my body. There are days where I can get up and I can walk and I can run, and I really, really cherish those days because I feel normal in those days. And then there's days where the shooting pains are just so bad. Like, to other people, they would be considered like phantom pain, right? Because it's not really like something that, was caused by bumping your leg or, anything like that. It just happens. Only for me, it's more frequent than anything. And even my body has become tolerant to the medicine drug known as gabapentin, which was supposed to help kind of alleviate that. Gabapentin just kind of like milds your nerve receptors, right? So these false signals of pain that were going, to my brain, telling me that my legs were hurting or my hip was hurting, it was trying to numb that. So then that way I could try to get through a day. There were days where I could barely walk, which is why a traditional 9-to-5 job is so hard for me to hold, because no company wants to deal with somebody that has good days and can be normal, and then has bad days who could barely walk, and they're watching me trying to walk through the hallway to get from the bathroom back to my desk to get back to work, looking like a 70-year-old man, right? You can barely walk. Like, these are the real struggles and the real things that I've gone through in life. So the only real avenue that I had that could accommodate for what I'm dealing with in life and still be able to make money, provide for my family, was doing side gig work. Doing work, whether it's remote from home and just maybe like being contracted for like a month to do a certain job remotely from home to help a company out. And then after that, the terms of the contract is ended, I go on to find something else. Appreciate it, Sneed. Glad to have you here. Nguyen, thanks. Glad to have you here as well. So that's what I've been doing for, a couple of years now, really, is just doing like side gig work and whatnot and trying to make ends meet, right? And then my wife, she works the traditional 9-to-5. She's a customer service manager, and, so, I mean, that's how we've been surviving. And like surviving in it, is a very, 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 very understated. Because like I said, there are times when I go through struggles, and it's like I will open up to people, but you guys are only scratching the surface of like the iceberg, right? A lot of things that I've suffered through, that my family has suffered through, I have kept a lot of that to myself. I don't broadcast it. I know I see it a lot, right? I see it a lot on social media. I see it a lot where people are just okay to talk about being evicted and losing their home. People are okay of being on camera and showing that, for a small point of time, they're homeless because they're trying to find a new place to live and everything like that. I'm not like that. I face those problems. In the last 5 years, I faced those problems, but really didn't put it out there for you guys to see, because really, of course, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Pride is one of the biggest things, right? I did worry about how people's perception of me was, like I always felt back then I was just like, who the hell is going to take me serious and everything like that if they know like that I'm a person that struggles through a lot, that has squandered opportunities when I was younger that I could have been in a better position in my life, but I wasted those opportunities. And now here I am at 43, starting a new adventure because I am learning from different people, and I'm hoping that this path that I'm going to go down is going to eventually pay off. One of the key aspects of it is real estate, and kind of like real estate investment, but more of just like buying up real estate, not for me to live in, but for me to fix up, for me to rent out, for it being additional sources of income coming in, which could definitely help out. And I've been watching my brother-in-law and I've been watching my sister do this, right? And they're pretty successful at this. Right now, after the many properties they've bought over the last couple of years, right now they are already back on the path. I think they have like 2 or 3 more homes in different states, right? I think they're closing a deal in Alabama right now, and I believe they're working on one in Las Vegas, and they're working on another one. I forgot where the other one is. But they have these houses, and they don't live in them. They rent them out. Either they rent them out, for people to long-term live in them, or converting some of them to Airbnbs where people can come vacation and, rent the place to be able to stay. But the main point is that their finances are growing. And so, my sister who, she's very close with me. She's been talking to me over the years about it. And it's like, she's always telling me like, hey, this might be something to help you out. Considering what I go through and what I struggle with, health-wise, to her, she's just like, this could be something that definitely can pull you out of the hole that you're in. Because right now, my family and I, we're living paycheck to paycheck style, right? Like we really have nothing left over to put in savings, and like all my life, I've been told from like family members and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, you got to put your money away. You got to save money. You got to have like an emergency funds. And it's like, yeah, I'm not stupid or oblivious to that fact, but kind of hard to build a savings when every bit of dollar that's coming in is going right back out to bills and food and whatnot. And the little bit that we have to some, like, my kids don't grow up with such a boring life. Like, yeah, we'll take them out to do something every now and then. It's not like I can take my kids and go to like the theme park and ride roller coasters every week or anything like that. Like, sometimes, to be honest with you guys, and I'm being fully transparent, right? So, understand that this is me opening up to a lot of you guys, not only sharing with you guys what my new journey is going to be, but also like opening up to you guys about just how things is, right? Because 43, I'm really getting up there. Actually, I'm already over the hill, considered, basically. But, there have been many nights that I've sat up late, my wife believing I suffer from insomnia, but really it was just me thinking about life in general and just what can I do to make things better for my family. And I would sit, I would cry, I would be angry with myself, I would be so mad, like, why didn't I just go to school when it mattered? Why didn't I take advantage of those opportunities when I was younger? My dad always tells me never to regret the decisions that you made in the past, because the decisions that you made in the past brought you to where you are today. People can learn from their mistakes, they can grow from their mistakes, and that's all part of learning, right? You have to make mistakes in order to grow and learn from it. And so that's something that I hold very near and dear to me. I lost my mother a couple of years ago, and I was really pissed off at myself because I always thought, like, I'm just that type of person. I know people kind of like, they feed into, like what I should do. Like, people always try to offer advice. They always try to offer like, a perspective or a way of doing things. Because like, I was very mad. I was very mad because I didn't have the finances. And I told myself, had I gone and done what I should have done, if I had built myself up and built my portfolio of things to be able to have things in the future, I would have had the money to fly out there to say goodbye. But I didn't, I didn't because I was too busy. So like anyone who's young, anyone who's under 25 years old, heed my words on this. Focus on opportunities that can make your future better. Don't sit back and like worry about today and tomorrow will take care of itself. That is a wrong mindset to have, and that's only going to screw you when you're around my age. You're gonna feel the pinch. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. You know, today I'm not even financially set. Today, you know, there are just things that's like on my shoulders that's just holding me kind of underwater, like I'm barely above water. And you know, I just had enough. I had enough living this way. I had enough waking up and worried, what bill am I gonna have to sacrifice because I don't have the money to make it? Like that type of living sucks. It really sucks. Which is why I don't pay attention in today's BS about politics and things like that. Like I don't pay too much into it. It's because I don't want to be sidetracked with all the BS that's put out there for you to focus on when I need to make it. Like there is no other way. There's no other option. It's I make it or I fail. And I don't have time to sit around and look at, you know, different avenues, right? This is the reason why, like I said, you know, every bit of what I make on YouTube, I give to my kids. I give it to them because I don't have, you know, the greatest finances to be able to be giving them things. So I do this, whether people like my videos on tech or they don't like it, whether they rock with me or they totally forget about me. Like, you know, I will continue to keep doing this. I will continue to keep pumping out videos. I will continue to look for ideas to make videos that can gain a new audience reach and also, you know, retain the ones that I have right now currently and just grow. Is because every bit that I make off YouTube goes to my kids. And it's not much, you know, for those people who really want to know, it's not much. I make anywhere between $200 to maybe $350 a month. Okay. That's like what somebody makes in like half a week's work, working a 9-to-5 job. I make in a month and I give that to my kids. Because that's whatever they want to do with it. They want to save it, build it up for when we go on vacation. They have money to spend on vacation, or if they want to go and eat McDonald's, or if they want to go and go out to dinner, they want to go to a movie. That all comes from the YouTube funds. That comes from what I make with AdSense on here. You know, I was done with my dealings with Helium Mobile. I'll tell you guys that much. You know, when I got that sponsorship, and you know the pay was actually pretty good and everything like that. You know, it saddened me that I was never told it was only for 1 year. Like everyone else, you know, other content creators on YouTube that were part of that program with Helium Mobile. You know, I reached out to them and they were like, yeah, you know, they were told it was only a year. I was never told that. So I was thinking it was like a consistent thing. You know, I had my referral code that gave you guys 1 month free. It helped out people that wanted to sign up with Helium Mobile, and you know, I made a commission on it. And that things were looking on the up, things were looking better. I was like, oh, okay, you know, like I could do this. And then boom, it got ripped out from underneath me. I had no idea it was only for a year. So what could I do? You know? And so from then on, you know, it's just been, you know, back to square one, you know, taking up side gig work, you know, doing what I can with the YouTube, and communicating with different businesses that have reached out me an email and trying to verify if, you know, they're legit businesses or if they're not, and what do they want out of me. What business dealings are we going to have? Are we going to have a sponsorship brand deal, or what are we doing, you know? And a lot of them have turned out to be false, right? You have to be careful as a content creator because a lot of them turn out to be false. They want to gain access to your Google account. They want to hijack, you know, your earnings and everything like that. And so yeah, I was just like, okay, you know what? I had enough of doing this. I had enough of scratching to get minimum. You know what I mean? Like, I am forever grateful for YouTube. I'm grateful for all of you guys. I'm grateful for the views I get from you guys, the interactions I get. You know what I mean? But I don't, how do I put it? I can't settle on just this. You know what I mean? Like I want to one day eventually be a homeowner. Like, I want to own a home one day. that I can pass on to my kids and say, you know what, you guys don't sell this. I know all of you guys are not going to live in it because you're going to grow up, and have, a partner, children, a life. But I do want that to be a place that they can all come to, their home, you know, and also whatever properties that I buy in the future, right? So like right now, for those who want to know, like what is this in my chapter journey of just, trying to become financially stable. Right now, it's about changing mindsets. I had a very negative way of looking at things. I would always get very frustrated and angry when things went really bad. And trust me, things went really bad. Like when you're told that you have 5 days to get your crap out of the place because, you couldn't afford the rent anymore. And they're like, you're done, you're gone, get out. I would sit there and just like focus on the negative of it, right? Because it's really hard to be positive when you and your kids are living inside of an SUV. It's really hard, especially here in Phoenix. I live in one of the most hottest cities in the United States, and being homeless in the summer is no joke. When it's like 117 degrees to 120 degrees, you're screwed. Which is why, like, it's very hard to kind of deal with that now that the air conditioning in the Armada is not working anymore. There's no way that if we ever went back to that we would be able to survive. It'd be too hot to live in that thing. There's no shelters that really help out here. Like, trust me, I've done my research to find so many ways to get help and everything like that. And people will be like, well, lean in on your family, let your family know what's going on. But like, I don't want to take anything away from my dad. He's up there in age, and he has his things that he's got to take care of. I don't bother my younger sister, my younger brother. They got their lives they're doing. I don't want to like put anything into that. My older sister has helped me in the past before, but she has her plans, her goals, and stuff like that. I don't like bothering my own family. You know what I mean? This is kind of the same reason why like I was always afraid to like, I'm not gonna say who because I don't want this person, to catch crap or whatever. But the person was just like, dude, use your platform to get help. Like really, it was just being said, like, use your platform. Lots of people do it. You see a lot of people post, GoFundMe's and talk about their sad stories and what they're going through and everything like that, and people donate to them and stuff like that. You see people that are like trying to fight being homeless, and they do a GoFundMe, and then all of a sudden, like in like a month's time, they made like $30,000. Like people have donated like $1 or whatever to the cause, and it's like, I would think to myself, like, that would be so crazy because that would help. If I had done something like that. But the problem is that I mean, I don't know what it is really when it comes to me, but I just don't have that. I don't have that type of luck. I guarantee people right now that if I created a GoFundMe and said, hey, me and my family are homeless and I'm trying to fight that, and I put it up, I guarantee you, maybe I'll get like $5, maybe I'll get $10, maybe I'll, get $30, sharing it on social media. But for some reason, just like, I would not be that person that would get, that type of help. And it's okay, because I mean, there's some people that have this thing about them where, people genuinely care, and then there's other people that just people genuinely don't care. And I fall into that category where people don't care. Some people do, but not a lot of people will care. And so that's why I've never really done it. I never really relied on that, as a form to help me or anything like that. I never leaned into YouTube, to Instagram and stuff like that to try and pull myself out that way. So I am now. I mean, I'm not going to do a GoFundMe and ask people to donate, not that. But what I mean is I'm leaning into my YouTube for help, because the way that I see it is YouTube can be registered as a legitimate business. Like, I can register this as a business. And that is my first step when making the moves into the financial gains. So like right now, I have to change the way that I think, right? Because if you have a negative thought, then all you're ever going to attract is negative, right? The laws of attraction. Something in the book that I read, and it's mentioned in a lot of different self-help books and stuff like that. You always see it, the laws of attractions, right? When you, like, for instance, example, like when someone walks like they live rich, right? and they keep telling people around them that they're rich, not saying it to joke, but like saying it as they believe in it, and continuously do that. And you watch them for a while. It doesn't happen like in a blink of an eye, but you start to watch them slowly gain some succession, and then you start to think to yourself, like, what was it that made it work for them? And the laws of attraction is something that a lot of people believe in, that what you put out into the universe will come back to you. So if you're always putting out negative, you're always going to get negative kickbacks. And so one of the first steps, which will be in the first video blog that I release, is basically just what I am going to do to change my thought process. How am I going to stop projecting negativity into my universe? Because that's another thing that I used to tell people when at a very young age, when I was in my late 20s. I used to tell people that you are the master of your own universe. You control what goes and happens within your universe. And some people will be like, well, if I lose my home, how is that me controlling it? I didn't want to lose my home. And like the reality is like, yeah, you lost your home, but did you do anything to prevent it? See, that was within your control. Did you have to go and buy yourself a new truck just because you wanted a new truck? Or could you have saved that money that you would have spent on a new truck and put that away for emergencies in case something happened to your home? Or if you needed, to catch up on your mortgage payments and stuff like that. There's a lot of things. Politics, what up, man? Thank you. There's a lot of things. TJ, thank you, by the way. There's a lot of things that, are within our control. And so that's why I'm more focused now on changing my mindset, but not saying it and like, I changed my mindset. No, like I really need to do it. And actions, in my opinion, speak very, very much louder than words. And so that would be like the first chapter in this long journey of what I am planning to do. And hopefully, I reach to where I want to be. It may take me 5-10 years to do this, but I'm going to document it, in a vlog. Maybe I'll record like, a minute of footage every day of the week and put it all together. Because it's like one video a week that it's released, and members will have access. So the idea of it is to attract people. The video will go live for 48 hours on my channel where anyone can see it. After 48 hours, it will be restricted to members only. And that way I feel like, giving it 48 hours for people to see these videos will be like, okay, you know what? Here's this guy who's trying to, make his life better and everything like that. And so he's doing these different things. And I want to know what he's doing and what's working for him, what's not working for him. Because trust me, I'm going to try different methods. And I'm not saying that, all this is going to lead me to a place of prosperity and everything like that. Who knows? This could blow up in my face and it leads me to where I'm back on the streets suffering again. I don't know. Like the future, I can't tell. Because trust me, if I could tell what the future is, I'd be a gambling man, because I would be betting on games. I would go to a loan shark. I would pull out a loan from a loan shark for like $150,000. Then I'd be going to legit, bookings and, placing a bet and freaking doubling, tripling my money and just gain wealth. Kind of like, what Biff did in Back to the Future 2. Remember, Biff got the sports almanac book that Marty bought. And so he went back in time and gave it to his younger self. So his younger self started making bets on all these sports events. And then, literally Biff became like a multi-billionaire. It was one of the craziest things ever. And, so I'm like, I would do that if I could see the future. So is this is scary as hell. Doing this, setting myself up to prepare to start building things, to make where my family has income coming in, something I can pass down to my children so they have income for them and they can pass down to their children. And that's the reason why that I chose real estate, right? Buying property in different states, buying houses in different states and stuff like that. States that you can see, because you don't just go and just buy any old house, right? You got to research like the neighborhood, the area, the city. You got to see if it's expanding, see if it's growing. And if it's growing, then yeah, you definitely want to get a home in there that you could use as an Airbnb that you could rent out to a family to rent, because it's a growing area. It's got promise of growth, and that only leads to more people coming to that town, that city. It leads them into, wanting to find a place to stay. It leads you to having a source of income coming in. Nowhere do I or my wife are like relying on this to where this is going to be our retirement. Like, no. This is actually towards our retirement. Yes, we want to be able to have these things in place by the time we're ready to retire, so that way there's money coming in. Because if you guys didn't know, if you're expecting that there's going to be Social Security benefits from when you're ready to retire, that's been tapped into. Those funds is like nearly depleted. So that's why they moved the retirement age. I think it was from 65 to 67 years old. They're trying to move the goalpost back because the funding for it's just not there for every American citizen right now. Those who would be in line to retiring. There's already people that, there's a lot of people that's, filing for, disability benefits. And there are people who have filed early retirements. They filed for Social Security retirements at the age of 41. And, they're willing to take a massive cut. Because if you get approved for that at 41 years old, oh my God, that's crazy insane. Plus two, you're not even going to get what you would normally get. But there's, like I said, there's really not much left. So that's why, for years now, we've been having what's called a 401k. We've been having, a retirement fund that you invest your money into, and jobs will match you like dollar for dollar, or maybe like, you put in $1, your company puts in 50% of what you put in. So they put in 50 cents. And, it grows over time. You can borrow against it to mortgage a home. You repay it back in. But what it's supposed to do is, when you're ready to retire, this 401k savings that you have is supposed to be what you could live off of, retire, in case there's absolutely no Social Security retirement available for you. Excuse me, I'm like still partially tired. My wife and I have been doing Amazon Flex for the last 2 days. We've been doing 2 routes a day. So I'm still kind of tired from that. But so in a nutshell and in a very short way, this is the plan that I see myself going down when everything goes right. Gotta start changing my mindset. When everything goes right, this is the order that it's going to go into. First of all, I gotta fix my mind mentally. I gotta change how I view things and see things. Ultimately, because that's going to lead me to making better decisions when opportunities arise and things are, on point for that. So that's the first step that I got to do is get my mental, my mental mind just on point and right. From there, I got, I wanted to register my YouTube channel as a legitimate business. And then, what's cool about that is that, like, if I buy phones to review or everything like that, those are write-offs. Those are write-offs that I'm going to, be writing off. Because when I register this YouTube channel as a legitimate business and have an EIN, which is basically, a business tax number, then I would need to build at least some things that would be considered as assets, so then that way I can start going to banks and figuring out, how much, and well, first, if I can get a line of credit with the bank for my business and how much I can get. And then from there is where it starts off. From there, it's where, I will use that as a way of building on my real estate dreams. Build on that to locate property and everything like that, to buy property to, I was also thinking of going beyond just renting a house out or renting an Airbnb for people traveling, but I do want to see what commercial spots in certain areas are for sale, and maybe turning those into studios for up and coming YouTubers who don't really have their own space to come and either rent on the monthly basis, rent on the weekly basis. And it's like having maybe like 1 or 2 studios that are furnished with equipment, and then maybe like 5 or 6 studios that are unfurnished, where a creator can bring in their own stuff, their own couches, their own microphones, their own computer and stuff like that, hookups for internet and everything, and they can go in there and use it and rent it as their spot, keep it locked up, keep all their stuff inside, or they can just come over to do a quick workup, a quick patch up, record a video in a quiet area. Because some people, they start up YouTube and like their families are too loud. They got siblings that are being noisy and stuff like that. And so they don't really have like a safe space to kind of like, create content and be focused on it. So that's something that I am also considering too, right? So buying a house to rent out to, a family or a couple to live in, to have that as a source of income coming in. That's the plan, to buy up properties to turn into Airbnbs. Thanks, Gene. I appreciate that. Thank you for the birthday wish. To rent out for like vacation stays and stuff like that. I do want to own some Airbnbs. I do want to own some commercial spots to turn into studios for content creators, or even musicians. Like even musicians can go in there and use it as like a quiet place to practice or record or anything like that. But again, all these, what they all have in common is real estate property, and so that's the goal, right? That begins my full-on journey. So I'm not going to say that I am successful in my journey, even when I reach those points, because maintaining those properties, those places, that's the challenge after that. So right now I'm in chapter 1. I'm chapter 1.1, because there's a 1.2 and a 1.3 and a 1.4, and then a chapter 2, and then a chapter 3 with all those those mini chapters in them. And I have to reach each one. And so I figured not only just doing that, but how cool would it be if I recorded my experiences trying to reach this level in my life. And I thought to myself, that'd be kind of cool. Of course, yes, it's being very vulnerable. It is opening up myself to people out there. And some people are just like, I wouldn't do it because you have the trolls and stuff like that. They're going to talk shit. Like, I'm not worried about the trolls. The trolls are going to do what they're doing. As a matter of fact, they're the way that I'm going to gauge if things are working right. Because if they're trolling on me, if they're hating on me and everything like that, I must be doing something right that's pissing them off, that makes them want to actually say some shit. That's how we've looked at trolls for the last 10, 15, 20 years. So no, tech videos are not going anywhere. I am still going to release those, and those are going to be released to everybody. But these financial vlogs, these weekly vlogs, showing you guys the process that I'm going through and trying to pull myself out of out of a financial rut. Those videos will be released once a week. So there's one video a week. This is the schedule for it. One video a week. I'm not going to change them up. I'm not going to have 2 videos or anything like that. One video a week. And those videos, so I'm going to try to aim to where those videos come out on a Monday. So they'll be live on a Monday and on a Tuesday. And Wednesday, they will go completely members only for replay watch. And little by little as that progresses. Now, if this changes everything with my channel, and more people are interested in the different methods that I find and the different tips and tricks that I'm going to be sharing as far as to optimize your finances, to move yourself up in life instead of being financially stuck where you are. If that becomes more of a probable thing, then yes, those videos will then become open, like fully public and wide. Because the tech space in YouTube today is not what it is in the past. You have to do something different. You guys don't believe me? Look at what's happening right now, right? I enjoy Sneed Mobile Tech outside of his tech videos. I really enjoy his coverage on sports. He has guests on his show. They talk, the NBA. They talk about various different sports, and it's refreshing, and it's not tech. It has nothing to do with telco, has nothing to do with iPhones or Samsung. Why did Sneed do this? Well, everybody is feeling the pinch on YouTube. Everybody is feeling the pinch in the tech space. There's too many tech reviewers in the tech space. So, and a lot of people today are not stupid. A lot of consumers have learned a lot about mobile technology, They don't really need us anymore to teach them anything. If we are making content about mobile tech, it is purely for the entertainment and no longer educational. Sure, people tend to kind of argue, boost mobile versus visible, this versus that versus that versus that, this phone, that phone, every phone. Everyone does that. But the reality of it is that people know phones. They know about them. They know what they're capable of, what they can do. And so they're not needing to be taught anymore. That's the reason why tech videos back in the day were so bountiful. Because there were still people who didn't understand smartphones. They didn't understand 4G LTE technology. They didn't understand app development. Now you got people who have absolutely no training, no degrees in building apps that are coding up and building games, and they're becoming lucrative, right? Remember the guy that made Flappy Birds and how much money he made off that game, even though he got a cease and desist from Nintendo because the pipes that he used for obstacles in his game were so much like the pipes in Mario and like Super Mario Brothers that he got a cease and desist to stop his game, shut it down. But the damage was already there. Like he made in his opening week with Flappy Birds, he made like 10. You're popping and pinging. Oh, I am so sorry if I am. Let me move the microphone away. Let me know if this sounds better now. I didn't realize that I may have bumped the microphone and it came closer, so of course it's clipping. If it's clipping, I apologize. But let me know now if it's still clipping, if it still sounds odd, or if the connection is super weak, because I live in a very crappy area, so I don't have the same type of connection speeds as I did in the old place that I lived at. But let me know if it's clipping, popping, if it's doing any of those things right now. I'll give it a second to get a mic check. Someone let me know how the audio is. Yeah, I didn't even realize how close it was to me. Well, when I'm leaning back, it's like far. So yeah, okay. When I move forward, maybe this is probably a good distance. But anyways, what I was saying before, doing a mic check and a sound check and whatnot. The tech space is just not where it's at anymore. Everybody knows tech. So when I make these videos, it's really just entertainment. Somebody that wants a nostalgic review on a iPhone 7 or something like that, will click on and watch my video to listen to what I have to say about an iPhone 7. But it's not for them to learn anything about the iPhone 7. They already know everything about the iPhone 7. And if it's a video about the Pixel 10, which I am going live this Wednesday to react to the Pixel 10, people pretty much already have an idea about the Pixel 10. They are in it for the entertainment, pretty much on that. And that's why I tell people, like, in the tech space, you can do other things. If you have other hobbies, other interests, play on those and see how that works out for you. It's kind of the reason why I've been studying YouTube a lot, because I wanted to know if I made a dramatic change to my channel, completely shifted away from what I started this channel on, how badly would that, affect my channel in itself, as far as people finding my content and being able to watch. Because the YouTube system is already used to pushing my videos to those who enjoy tech videos. That's really what it does. That's all the algorithm does. Like, you yourself are the reason whether you're gaining views or not. And as you guys can see, in the tech space, I'm not getting a lot of views. So the way that I talk about tech, the way that I do tech videos it's not something that people find entertaining to their value, what they want out of it. To some of you guys find it entertaining. Some of you guys are former creators that support the channel for so many years. Some of you guys are up and coming creators, and you just feel comfortable talking to me. I mean, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to tech, it is overly saturated. It really is. And this is why a lot of people are coming up with secondary things, right? This is why I started talking wrestling with B-Tech, something different, like a palate cleanser, but also something very different. And that's why I have my own wrestling talk channel called Twist and Tap, which I think right now is sitting at like 20 subscribers. So we're at 20 subscribers and still growing. I haven't posted up anything new, so of course there's not anything new out there for people to find, to latch on to discover my channel. I got to start working on content for that, but I don't want to spread myself too thin making videos and whatnot. So that's kind of like, you know, why it's taking a little bit. But I will eventually have Twist and Tap up and running like full capacity, full steam ahead. I'm hoping in the next 6 months. And I'm hoping to where I have that rhythm for it. You know. But anyways, guys, that is the upcoming change. Like I said, if you're very interested in these financial things that I'm doing, if you want to see the financial journey I'm about to embark on, becoming a member is going to be your best bet. You know, first of all, it helps out the channel. Definitely helps out the channel, right? By becoming a member. And yeah, you get whatever insights and stuff that I learned. Any tips and tricks in the financial market that I learned about, I'm going to share those. You know, I'm going to make it clear that I'm not a financial guru. I'm just letting you guys see me go through the journey and whether I succeed or fail, and the ups and downs that I got to face on this journey is the whole reasoning for this. So definitely become a member if you're interested in that. If you're only interested in the tech, no worries. It's not breaking my heart. I'm still going to drop tech videos that, you know, are open to the public, just widely open to the public. Yeah, so anyways, I got a lot of things I gotta take care of. So that is today's live stream. I know it wasn't tech at all. I didn't say nothing about the pixels or any of that stuff. So have I thought about doing Patreon? I thought about it, but YouTube members is the same thing, and it's all located in one spot. You know what I mean? Like, so you becoming a member is very similar to, you know, paying a monthly subscription on Patreon. The difference is that you don't have to go to two places for things. Now, if you just want to like invest in me and stuff like that, there's ways to do that. I'm actually building a way for those people that, you know, want to see what I can do, want to invest in me. I will leave that wide open, you know, obviously with Venmo. I mean, Venmo right there below, you know, that's how you can find my Venmo account. You want to send me a B-Day dono, go for it. I don't expect it, but you can if you want to. You know, as far as like anyone that's going to ask me, what does 43 feel like? It felt like yesterday when I was 42. And for the birthday celebration thing, that'll be later on tonight. I'm gonna go live on my mobile phone when I'm hanging out with family and everything. Like, everyone's gone at school and at work, so I'm like pretty much like alone. And so just sitting in my thoughts. That's the reason why I wanted to do this live stream too, is because I could be in my thoughts. I could try to make myself comfortable, opening up to all you guys about, you know, how my lifestyle is, how I, you know, how I live. If that changed people's perspectives about me and they don't want nothing to do with me, that's totally fine. You know, I never came on here to try to deceive people and make people think that I was some, you know, wealthy, you know, content creator or anything like that. Like, no, I don't even see where. And if you guys can also do me a solid and let me know, how does the visuals look? Because I'm actually using the Pixel 9a as my webcam. Currently, right now, my main daily driver devices is my Pixel 8a. I'm using that, and then my iPhone 12. You know. But anyways, yeah, I'm not doing the best financially, so and that's also the reason why, like, I can't just get every phone that comes out. Like, I don't have that kind of money. You know, I kid you not. Like, say like I absolutely wanted to review the Galaxy S25 Ultra. If I did that, I would put myself in such a bad rut. I would probably put myself like 2 car payments behind. I'd probably, you know, be putting myself like half a month behind on rent and everything like that. Like, I would lose my place to live, because here in Arizona, they don't play around when it comes to rent. Like, you can be 10 days late on rent, you will get a 5-day notice sent to you. And before that 5-day notice is even sent to you, they already have, you know, the people from the court already serving you court documents to appear in court for an eviction hearing. And then, you know, it's, yeah, they're really fast on booting people out of here. Rent in my city has gone up. Like, we were okay 5 years ago. The average rent for like a 3 bedroom was $1,600 a month. 2 bedrooms were like, between was it $900 and $1,000 a month, and then 1 bedrooms were like $750 to $900. Studios were $550 to like $700. Now a studio is $900 at times. That's like the max for a studio apartment. 1 bedroom, was like $800 to $900. A 2 bedroom is like $1,100 to $1,500. A 3 bedroom can really be like at $1,800 to $1,900 a month. A house could be at $2,500 a month rent. It's so crazy to live here, Places that I wanted to move to wasn't really a good idea, just because, yeah, rent was cheap. Like going to Oklahoma was really like one of the big things I wanted to do. It was a change where I wanted to be able to live somewhere that would be more affordable for me and my family. However, I forgot to think about the job market out there. Like, what types of jobs do they have, and how much are they paying? And they're paying way, way, way low than what they're paying here in Phoenix, obviously. And so that would have just put me in the same position that I am in currently right now. The difference is I'm making a lot less than what we're making here. So if we wanted to come back to Phoenix, Arizona, it would take us some time to save up to be able to move back to Phoenix, because we wouldn't be making the same type of money. Like, and some of the jobs that I did in customer care, customer service, I was getting paid $24 to $25 an hour. And that was pretty decent. And if I moved to Oklahoma, the same job that I was doing out there pays $12 to $13 an hour. That's a huge, huge, huge loss in money. Of course, it makes sense now, because like rent out there for like a 3 bedroom house is like $750. It's absolutely crazy. So, the first couple of videos based on my financial journey and what I'm learning to try and better myself financially. The first couple of videos are going to be open to the public. I'm not going to make them at any point members only videos, but future ones will be, unless I start to see that there's like a huge want for those types of videos, and then I will release them publicly, as I've been doing with the tech videos. They're going to be on this channel, so it's not another channel to subscribe to. You don't have to find another channel to subscribe to. It's all going to be on here. And then, yeah, if I run into any problems, like if I lose the place that I live, if I happen to go homeless again with my family, I mean, you guys will know. I'm not going to like specifically go live and get into the details. I'm not like that. I don't want to tug on people's heartstrings and make them feel like they have to send me money. People do that. I'm not comfortable doing that. And so that's something that you won't ever see me ever do. And yeah, because I've already gone through it and none of you guys knew. So none of you guys knew when I was going through that point. So yeah, I definitely can say that you guys won't know. But I want to show you guys how, a poor bastard like me is either going to successfully pull my family out of financial struggle or succumb to it. And if it's a risk that anyone should take, I'm willing to be the crash dummy to let you guys know should you risk it for the biscuit or not. But until next time, everybody, thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate that. If you guys want to chat with me on social media, if you guys are connected with me on social media, whether it's on Facebook, Threads, X, you shoot me a DM and I'll chat with you through those message platforms. Right now, let me, if you guys see, I'm actually going to get ready to watch one of my favorite anime movies called Vampire Hunter D. That's the background you guys are seeing on this live stream. That is D, the hunter, son of Count Dracula, tasked with the mission of vanquishing vampires. And so he's a done peel. He's half human, half vampire. And he faces all these things that he has to go through and how people treat him and everything like that. So very good anime. If you're into anime and you want to watch something you've never seen before, if you've never seen 1985 Vampire Hunter D, go check it out. You guys can find it for free on YouTube. There's like multiple copies on YouTube, both in Japanese and in English and English dub. There's 2 different versions of the English dub. The dialogue is different between both of them. But yeah, nonetheless, it's pretty good anime. And if you watch it and like it, there is a follow-up movie that came out in the year 2000, I think, or 2001, called Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which is also pretty good. Of course, the animation is a little bit more darker. It looks like Todd McFarlane from Spawn on the second movie compared to this one. But I thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome and amazing, and I will see you guys Wednesday for the Made by Google event reaction.